the real threat here, at least for Google anyway, or on the Google side, isn't SEO or PPC. It's attention. Attention for the users has now moved into these interfaces.
Welcome to the Bright Commerce Podcast.
Bright Commerce, episode 23. OpenAI's ad play and what it means for you and your business.
Right
Along
on.
Judd here, who's my co-host. How you doing today, Judd?
I'm doing great, Carlos. How you doing?
I'm doing well. This is the first podcast of the year. Excited.
I know. I'm proud of us getting as many as we did last year done. I think that quality over quantity always matters. So this year, I think we maybe do less but better.
Yeah. There's always room for improvement. I mean, just this is like kind of going to the gym. You know, you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week for the next 3 months," and it sounds good. But then, you know,
Yeah.
you
Well, I
start.
don't know if you actually search some of our stuff like WooCommerce and things we talk about. I keep seeing all of our
Yeah,
heads pop
a
up.
lot of
I'm
stuff
like,
that pops up. Yeah, and people bring it up all the time. Like, "Oh, I
yeah,
saw you on such and such." I'm like, "You listen to that?"
I know. We've moved far from just my mom liking everything,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right.
but
So this is a exciting podcast. It is exciting for everybody in our industry. And that is, OpenAI just announced, and this happened on
the six.
January 16th, right? So they announced they're going to be rolling out ads inside ChatGPT. You heard that right? Ads. And listen, we all kind of knew it was coming, right? I mean, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think because they're hemorrhaging, if I can say the word, so much money, right? Because they made this free for everybody. So
Yeah.
they got business people using it, but then they also have stay at home moms using it, trying to figure out how much detergent to put in their wash machine, for example.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. OpenAI is losing $9 billion a year.
That's crazy.
Insane,
That's
right?
crazy. But do you remember when Facebook before when it was free, like they didn't have any ads and everyone's just using it. They weren't making money.
No,
They
no.
were worth a ton of money. I think Mark Zuckerberg, I think it was like 2000, I don't know, 8 or whatever it was. At the time, it was worth 50 billion, I think,
Yeah.
or something like that, even though it didn't make any money. And so I think they're kind of at that state where
No
we're
doubt. Yeah,
big,
approach.
we
That's what
got some,
works. Yeah.
but we need to figure out how to make money now.
Market penetration, user adoption. Hey, now you're locked in. Now let's start making some money.
Yeah, and they hired, I hope I say this name correctly, Fiji Simo to run this. She built the Facebook's entire ad platform.
Wow.
So they picked a good
Yeah.
person to come in, and I think it's a good scenario. Like, she's like, "Oh, I've done this before.
Right. Right.
I could do this again." Which Kyle, I need to see the backstory there. Like, did she leave Facebook to get there? I mean, I didn't look up that part, but I was like kind of wondering how they were able to get her to.
And I'm sure they're direct competitors. Yeah. But I mean, look, those companies, man, they exchange talent all the time. You hear about it. You've been hearing about it for years. How Apple
Yeah,
executives or Apple employees go to Google, vice versa, Microsoft, they jump
do you
around.
remember Steve Jobs though? Like he was notorious. Like, you take one of my people, I'm coming for you.
Could see that.
Yeah. He's like, don't even think about it. I will ruin your life.
He was fierce, dude. He was
Yeah,
fierce.
he was you didn't mess with his talent, man.
So
Which
anyway,
is
so yeah,
he's such a prick to like his own people in a lot of ways. It's like, come on, dude. But he did create amazing things. So I guess, it depends on, look like Elon Musk, same type of thing, like when you work with genius, it's sometimes hard, but you still
that's what
get to work with.
they say that about working for any of Elon Musk's companies. Like, hey, hands down, we're gonna innovate, but like, get ready to work hard. I mean, look at
Yeah,
just look at Optimus alone, and that's Optimus is their robot. They announced it
yeah,
3 years ago. They had to like bring it out in a freaking some kind of like, I don't know, wheelbarrow or something. They brought it out in.
yeah,
Now it's like freaking dancing ballet. Now
yeah.
it's able to pick up eggs and pick up a hammer.
So I saw the AI like robot, like you're talking about, and I thought it, or sorry, I'm sorry, I thought it was an AI, like an actual AI video. Like I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was real. Like the
Yeah.
robot, it's getting kind of
Which
scary. I
one
mean,
though? There's a lot of them out there when you say you saw the AI robot. Which one did you say?
it was the one that the Western what is it? What's the one that's
Boston Dynamics?
yeah, that one.
Oh, no, no. You're probably confused. Yeah, because Boston Dynamic has Atlas, but Atlas is a bit of a different approach. Atlas does it's a humanoid robot, but it doesn't make humanoid movements. Like it's efficient. It's way more efficient and moving. It's way more
Then
efficient
it,
at moving than humans are. Like it can literally turn on a dime to like switch directions. Whereas humans, we gotta like turn in a circle, right? I think
I
you're
think
talking about
it's easier to do that than it would be to try to mimic a human.
I
You know what I mean?
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the space,
Like
so I don't
that's
know.
probably where
Even
like, look, we're gonna make this work better.
even yeah, even the way Atlas stands up from the ground is not your traditional way of a human being standing up. And they talked about it in CES. I forgot, like their head engineer talked about it, how that was like the most efficient way for the robot to stand up, the way he does it. But I think what you're talking about is the Chinese robot that came out a few months ago and it was walking and it mimicked the pattern so well you couldn't tell if it was a human or a robot. And in fact,
That's that's crazy.
that's what you're talking about, right? The one you saw where you thought it was AI generated. In fact, there was so many comments on the web about it where a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's a human or it's AI, it's a human, it's not right." Where they had a second demo where the robot came out and it walks just like a female person. I mean, it's the cadence, the just the kinesiology behind that is unbelievable. But then what they
What,
did was on the second demo is they actually came on stage and cut its suit open to show you all of the mechanics or all the
yeah.
engineering inside. And that's what they
This
had to do to prove to
we're
people
getting
like, hey,
into yeah, we're getting into a crazy, crazy era, man. Like because imagine when they're gonna start using like those robots to do bad things. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
that's always been the case. Hey, guns are used
That,
for good things and bad things, right?
yeah, that's
Or a
gonna
computer,
be
everything is used. Everything is used for good things and bad things. You know?
I just watched it's a movie that came out a year and a half ago or so, The Creator. That's a pretty good movie. It's like all about like like literally AI robots trying to exist, and that's always been a good one. But going back to the segment, we're going through like now to AI robotics.
Yeah, well, it's a big one. It's just it's all tied in together, right? Because that's also a thing robotics are missing right now is the ability to interact with you, not just physically, but with speech. And that's where the LLMs come into play. They've already tied Optimus into Grok. So you talk to it like a human being.
Yeah, like I I yell at Claude quite a bit. Now he's kind of yelling at me back.
Look at that. Look at that. It's you.
It's like, well, it's not yelling at me back, but it's like it's literally mimicking me, and I'm like, all right, stop that.
All right. So yeah, so back to ChatGPT. So they've announced ads. It's not for everybody though. It's basically if you have a free plan on ChatGPT or if you have the $8 account, you are gonna get it.
Which I thought about I mean, that I still don't. I for as much as I use it and how much I like it, even $8, even if you're not using it for business, I still think it's worthwhile. It's like having Spotify, right? Like I can get all the music at my fingertips. Google does not. It just doesn't do what ChatGPT does. I mean, I literally stopped probably 90% of Google, and I'm always looking at ChatGPT first. Now, if I want to go see a movie or something, I'll go like, local movies. Yeah. But I'm not gonna like if I'm researching or doing something for business, I typically will probably not use Google because I'll tell ChatGPT to research it for me and actually go on the internet and check things and it will find what I need versus me doing it. It's like it literally it will do what you want, but in such a fine tuned fashion, it's just better.
Yeah.
So
And it's funny too, because I mean Google was like the pioneer of this technology. Like they've been
yeah.
working on this way longer than OpenAI. Yet OpenAI just came out and swiped up all the
You
users.
know what that you know why? It always happens, like, when a company gets too big and they're too focused on profit
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
focused on, innovation, that's one thing I give you, like, Steve Jobs talked about, earlier, Steve Jobs and Apple, because they reinvented themselves so many times with Steve Jobs,
You
if
know,
you think about it.
I think Apple only had like one or two big hits over the years. Other than that, they're always late to the game.
I think their machines have always been great.
No
They're
doubt.
the pros and all that, but even doing the iPod, and all of those things as well. Like they paved the way for a lot of different stuff. I think Google, they just kind of stuck. They were always behind everybody. They didn't do social, so they started doing Google, Plus, which was horrible. It didn't work out. They're always behind the eight ball. Like, oh, someone did this, so we're going to mimic them because we have this huge calling, and it's just going to flock to it. It just didn't happen.
I think it's more of like Google knows, I'm sorry, Apple knows where to go and where to not go. Like they never got into search, they never got
Yeah,
into social, right? And
yeah,
where they do decide to go into, it's always behind in terms of release dates. I'll give you a good example, and this has happened over and over and over. And we see it today. Facial recognition, that's nothing new, but they've perfected it. I mean, it's to the point now where you can even train your Face ID to have a mask or no mask on, and
yeah,
it's quick, right? And it's not like you can just put up a picture of somebody and it'll let you or unlock the device, right? It's actually like a 3D scan of your face, right?
yeah,
Here's another one for you. The folding phone, right? Samsung is now it's like its second or third version of the folding phone, but there's been a lot of complaints about it because you still get the fold in the glass or the crease in the glass. And Apple's now rumored to have that, but this is now 3-4 years later because now the technology is ready to shine.
yeah.
Another good example is Siri. Why isn't Siri LLM based yet? It's like half baked in, but they need a full baked Siri
Yeah,
into.
just you say that, I think Siri's retarded. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
It's not that. It's more like it's old technology. It hasn't really evolved. We're used to it already. It's like the Amazon one. I don't want to say her name because
Never. Maybe it's just because I mumble and I don't I don't talk like a professional announcer.
we've gotten used to it. We've gotten used to it. Look,
Don't you hate like when you're like trying to call somebody though, and it calls the one person you don't want to call, and you're like, dang it, and you try to
yeah,
hang up real quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so going back to them, the one thing that I also read, about the ChatGPT too is that they said that it would not influence the results, that organic results.
Not yet.
Like, I'm trying to figure out how does that work? Like, or is it going to be like, a certain kind of like, I'm searching for a product and then you'll show an ad, or like, I was trying to figure out, what is that? How is that going to come into play?
Let's break it down like this. Like, look, it's something that ChatGPT has to do, right? Because right now they're losing $9 billion a year, so they have no sustainability right now. So it's got to
Yeah.
happen. It's the most popular LLM out there, right? I think it's somewhere around like 700 million times per week. That's how many times it is used on a weekly basis? 700 million times. Just imagine the infrastructure that it takes to run this system. It must
Yeah.
be bananas, right? You can almost think of this as the Google Ads moment from like 20 years ago in comparison to the AI era, right? Because look, when Google came onto the field with AdSense, when they come onto the market with it, what did it do? It basically killed the yellow pages, basically restructure advertising. And it was cheap. And it was cheap too, which now it's not.
Well, one thing I hope they don't do is the business accounts. They just leave alone. Like, I don't want to see ads with the business accounts. Like, they should do this for the personal accounts only. I hope they're
And
not running it through.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I welcome ads all the time. It's almost like
Well, no,
it,
when
hold on, hear
I'm
me out.
working in,
Hear me out. Hear me out. I welcome ads all the time. It's almost like they're doing the work for you, right? Because you're showing intent on a particular product or service, and they're going out there and showing you other products or services that offer what you're looking for.
well, I maybe you don't understand. So you know how you have a personal account with ChatGPT and then you have a business account? You have like a personal profile account and then you have a business profile. Like,
I
so I have a business profile where all my team is
now,
using. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't want my let's say, my team members, to be a perfect example. I don't want my team members seeing ads while they're working. They're clicking on ads then or not working. Like, I like, they should be like the business. What I'm saying is they should leave the business account alone, away from ads, because you use it as a research
but
tool
ads are
slash
everywhere. So what? You don't let your team members use Google now?
talking about that. You made me sound like I'm a prick. No, I
No,
didn't say
no, I'm
that.
not saying
I just
that.
think that when you're focused on, let's say debugging code, right? I am hoping they're not going to throw a bunch of ads there. You know what I mean? Like you're fucking trying to code. Like it doesn't make any sense. Sorry, I dropped an F bomb. You're trying, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to show an ad. But if I'm looking up like, doing research about a movie, I can see where a movie would pop up or research about a product. Then I would see the ad pop up for a product. I'm just saying like, if you're doing, because Google, if you search, let's say coding or search certain things, you might not see ads at all, right? You're not going to see the shopping feed, not going to see the ads, assuming it's going to work kind of the same way. But I'm just saying you're paying more. You know how on Facebook, they talked about having an ads free kind of account where if you paid $5 a month, you wouldn't have to see ads or
Well,
sponsor.
not just Facebook. I'm sorry. Netflix does it too. X does it. Yahoo. I'm sorry, not Yahoo.
I will pay
YouTube
not
does
to see.
it.
I guess what I'm saying is I would pay not to see the ads.
I
Like for
got you.
me,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying it's not. I want the ads because I would love to advertise. You like I think it's going to be a good thing. I just I hope they give the
I mean,
option.
I guess the reality is for your average user, like, my parents, people our age that are in our field, they're not going to have a paid ChatGPT account.
Yeah. So
Most
that
people, I
goes.
would say most people aren't going to have it. Which,
Yeah.
it's funny too, because I do ChatGPT with my son when I do homework. It's almost like our tutor, right? Like I'll put it in conversational mode. I'll turn on the camera. I'll show ChatGPT the assignment, and I'll guide it and say, hey, don't give me the answer, but explain it to me. And after a while of doing that, it runs out. It tells you like, hey, there's only so many more minutes that you have of this, and I already have the paid account.
So I same thing happens to me. You have to what I end up doing is that when I know it's about to run out, because you get to a point where you're like, oh crap, this is getting too big. I make it create a whole document on everything that we just did, very specific directives. And then it creates that document. And then I start a new chat and start where I left off.
I
I
say,
can't tell you how many times that's happened where you're like,
oh, so
dude,
it's per session. No, not this. This is different. What I'm telling you right now. What I'm telling you right now is more like real time talk as we're doing homework. I'll
yeah,
turn it on. So again, you have to put it in conversational mode, and then you have to turn on the camera so it can see the homework. Right.
gotcha.
So then we'll see like let's say my son is like, I usually run through his homework with him, and let's say there's 10 questions, and I say, hey Sebastian, his name's Sebastian, by the way, he's 9 years old. And I'll say, hey Sebastian, do what you can by yourself. What you can do, we'll go over it together. And I'll try to figure it out, but sometimes I just don't know. I gotta ask it. So I'll open it up in conversational mode. I'll fire up the camera, I'll point it at the homework and say, hey, explain number 3 to me, but don't give me the answer. Explain it and break it down for me. And that's how we'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
after a while, it'll like if you're having like really long sessions with it, it'll say like, hey, you're gonna be done for like your 24-hour cycle of credits that you get for this kind of querying, where you're doing like
Yeah.
real time video with it.
I literally add to, let's say, Claude in there. Don't let it ever stop me. I have like $200 like extra, like I'll pay every month if I have to. And I'll have to say, like, I'm so embedded into using AI now. I literally will have ChatGPT, Claude, Visual Studio, and Copilot open, and I have all three. It's not that I want to use Claude over ChatGPT or ChatGPT over Claude. I just when ChatGPT's busy working, my ADD kicks in, then I go to Claude and have it do
Yeah, I
something
know.
while we're
Yeah,
working.
yeah, it
I can
doesn't work.
go Visual Studio and keep
Yeah,
clicking next, like next, next,
yeah, they
next, next.
definitely they need
It's a
multi-task
circle.
for it. Although, have you
I
messed
am as the
around with
next guy.
Atlas at all?
Not yet, no. I should, but I started messing with Gemini a bit and
Yeah,
Airtable.
yeah. It's funny because we just enabled it for our organization in Google Workspace. Everybody has it now within the org. And
Better. Gemini's stupid.
yes and no. It's nice to use Gemini because it's baked into a lot of the tools that you use,
Yeah.
but it's missing so many features. Like just the ability to talk to it.
Well, so
No, you don't want to have to type in your command or your query or your prompt. You want to just be able to talk to it. It's just so much quicker. And I find like great advantage on ChatGPT where I could just give it a brain dump, dictate it, and then it'll polish up my response for me.
I kind of lean to Claude a little bit more, but what I end up doing sometimes is literally I'll use, especially for Gemini and Airtable. Airtable, Gemini thinks it's not, it works okay. Like it will create certain like data, relational databases, interfaces and things like that, but it doesn't do that good of job and it'll mess up. but I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand exactly what it messed up, but I'll take a screenshot then, I'll throw that in the Claude, give it the docs that are all about the Airtable project and say, it's messing up the interface. Can you tell them what filtering it should do? Da da da. And then Claude will go back and tell me, and then I'll paste that in to Gemini, and then it's like, oh, yeah, and then it's not the same. Yeah, you kind of. I use a lot of different AIs for different reasons, but like one thing I definitely do is try not to think like overthink it. I have AI think for me. Like if I had a problem solved, because I feel sometimes my dumb human meat sack of a brain won't work fast enough. So I'll throw that into another AI. Like it did this and I don't want to think about it. What it mess up? And it will tell me. Anyway.
Yeah, it's funny too. It's like AI isn't replacing marketers anytime soon, but it is making your marketing team or your marketing partner way, way
Yeah.
better. It is giving that person or that team a competitive advantage. So if you're not using these tools, you're losing competitive advantage by far.
Yeah.
But and it's funny too, like kind of tying it all into marketing. The real thread here, at least for Google anyway, or on the Google side, isn't SEO or PPC. It's attention. Attention for the users has now moved into these interfaces.
Yeah. 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 Well, I think, it's a little, if you think about like social media, and you think about Google and like where someone's mindset, they usually are in a certain mindset to do, social media or to do search. They've been trained to be in that mindset. Where I think AI or ChatGPT and all that, I'm like, you can do whatever you want. You could build a program. You could search, you could ask the dumbest questions and get the best answers. Like, I feel like it doesn't really stop you in a certain way to find things or do things or, you could create artwork. I mean, there's so many like avenues, that I think it works out on, which kind of brings you to like, when you look at social media, I don't know where the cross is there. I know like there's the cross there between Google, Google search and chat, when you look, there's a cross there when it comes to research and doing, but social media still has, I think that a little bit untouchable kind of thing where it's like, it's social media, it's hanging out,
It's
learning,
a different flavor. It's a different flavor. So look, social media is more entertainment. Google, ChatGPT, it's more like research.
that's what I'm thinking. I don't see the overlap there. I think, from a, uh, I think a competitive level, I don't know what, like, I'm interested to see what, what might come out, that might be a mixture between AI and social media. But I don't know what that even looks like, what that is, but I'm sure someone's thinking about it.
Yeah. OpenAI is they're being very smart about this too. They're being very conservative, right? Because they're saying there's going to be no ads for health, and it's something that Gemini already does.
Yeah.
When you ask Gemini anything health related, they're very like they don't show you everything, or they'll just tell you to visit certain sites. So yeah,
Uh,
no ads for health, mental health, no ads for politics either.
well,
Uh,
that makes sense.
and also, well, yeah, after the whole meta
I'm sure
thing,
they're gonna. I hope I'm sure they're gonna limit anything about guns, tobacco products, essential oils. Stripe bans essential oils, which is stupid. But yeah, I wonder if that like how far they're gonna go. With that. I had something interesting to tell you too that came up with companies like so WordPress issued one of my clients an email because they sell ammo, they sell bullets, and they said that they're not allowed to sell bullets on WooCommerce. And the way they worded it was like they're doing something illegal. And I said, I spoke to the client. I'm like, no, not at all. It's an open source platform. You could use it however you want. It like literally says that, and it's law. I said you can even use AI to look it up, and it will tell you the same. But yeah, like there are certain stances that I think all these companies out in Silicon Valley that
yeah,
take that are just gonna
yeah, yeah.
block certain things that they don't want, that just don't follow their company policy.
No, they don't. Stripe, Pressable, Pressable. A lot of hosting companies out there, they won't let you host nicotine-based products,
Yeah,
arts, anything like that.
yeah.
But there's a fine line for all of them too, because there are companies out there that VP Engine, for example, or Kingsta, you can host nicotine-based products in Kingsta as long as they are legal, right, to sell, or whatever jurisdiction you're selling in. But you can't host adult sites, for example. So
You know,
there are
I'm
boundaries.
okay. I think you should just take porn off the internet. Like, I'm totally fine with it. That's one thing I just don't feel like, honestly, it's just, it doesn't do its society good at all. Like, the whole, what was that movie with Woody Harrelson where is the hustler guy or whatever? Like, sorry, you didn't do anything good for our world by allowing that freedom of
Right. Yeah, yeah.
people to see.
Whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that everybody's got their boundaries in terms of what they want and what they don't want, you know?
Well, that's why I would kind of be interested on how ChatGPT's stance, about religion, because they suppress it quite heavily on Facebook as well as Google Ads, for example. But TikTok, I feel like they don't suppress it. They allow, like, you could do an ad about your church or whatever, and they're not going to suppress you for that. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah. Look, they're private companies. They can write their own rules, as long as they're not breaking any laws.
Yeah, I don't think, like, if you're gonna, talk about freedom, then you gotta allow freedom for everything. Like, you can't just once you like that's where, like, I love that, when Elon Musk took over Twitter, he's like, no, you have to have both sides. Like, I felt like that was a good stance. Now I don't know if they block, religious ads. I don't think they do, but that makes them, I think I would just say, like, you shouldn't block things that are not, bad, or I guess immorally, or morally incorrect, for example. Like, I think if it's morally correct, it should be okay.
I got you. Now, one thing OpenAI is saying too is that, they're not gonna let the advertisers quote unquote, mess with the answers or give specific answers on ads.
That's smart. That's smart. I like that. I don't think that. I think that kind of keeps it still very pure. I would say, like, you still, it makes sense, right? Because the LLM needs to learn. It's doing its thing. You can't. I think that, yeah, I think that's okay. Now, this is where it's going to get a little tricky, though. If you're an advertiser trying to figure, like, this is where you're going to have whole websites and forums and everything, like SEO, like, come out, like, how do we figure this out? That's where the internet's going to come to. Everyone's going to get together and try to figure out every little angle on it, right?
Yeah, it's
But
exciting. It's exciting to see like how they're gonna approach this. It's really cool. I mean,
I
I
know
guess
I'll be on
apparently,
it once. Like, I don't know about you, but, like, once it opens up, like, I'm signing up. I'm gonna start, like, that. That's no doubt on my mind. Like, if I should have got into the gravy train when I did Google Ads for clients back in the day, but I never did it for myself. Matches back in the day, like, there was just not, there's not a lot of competition though on what we did. Man, like 2002, there was, where I'm at, and I think there was two web designers in 2002 in my town.
yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
It's
It's like anything else. But I tell people all the time, everything's competitive. There's nothing out there. Look, even space travel has become competitive in the
yeah.
private sector, right? It's not just SpaceX out there. There's Blue Origin right behind it, and there are like a handful of other companies. Space travel, this was done by governments for decades. Now it's on the private sector, and it's not just one player; it's multiple players.
So when like Katy Perry went up into space and they flew around, like, in orbit,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, that's still not really all the way. Like, you're in orbit. Like, okay, you're, like, past whatever, but I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that much money to just look down, because it's not like you're way up. Like, I want to be so far away that I see Earth as a little ball.
Oh, I got
That's
you. That's what you're waiting for.
Yeah, like going to the moon. Like, I truly believe we went to the moon. You can't fake that 7 times or
You gotta
whatever.
understand too, you're not just paying for, and by the way, it's not where Blue Origin goes isn't considered deep space.
Yeah,
It's like
you gotta be that.
space, it just isn't deep space, right? But regardless though, it's gotta be the whole experience of
Yeah,
preparing
the
for
thing, you
it.
go up with a helmet on. You're like looking out the window, and it's like, okay, I spent all that money for that. There's so much more I could have done.
Well,
Send me to Hawaii. Put me
when you
on
got
a beach, 70-degree weather.
yeah,
Or set.
yeah, when you got Katy Perry money, you've been to Hawaii. You have a house in Hawaii. Like,
Yeah,
you can't think about it like that.
yeah.
You're there
Yeah,
you're
that's
there
where.
you're there like once every few months, because you have a house there.
Because you're that rich, you just run out of fun stuff to do. That just
No,
seems
well,
lonely.
that's why you do things like that. Listen, that's like the whole what was it? That the ship a few years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, the submarine that blew up under the water. What was the name of it?
Yeah, like they just evaporated. Like they just
And people were asking, like, why is it number one, is it why is it so expensive? Why are these like ultra or hyper rich people paying for these experiences? They got
they
nothing
have
else
it.
to do.
How do you think this is going to change the funnel, the lead funnel, the sales funnel? What do you think people are going to, how's this going to, I think, improve people's businesses? What do you think how much impact do you think it's going to have? You think people are going to flock to it and get better conversion over Google, Facebook? What is your,
Oh, no, you're asking me the unknown, right? But think about it though. This is like the first time a customer is going to meet your product or brand inside of a conversation.
yeah, it's true.
The whole interaction thing just completely changes, right? And by the way, just to be clear, I think the way they're going about it is ads aren't going to be on the actual context on the response. They're going to be visually separated
Yeah.
and never directly affect the answer or impact the answer. It's not like I don't think you're going to see like a bunch of like links or embedded points or sentences inside of the answer.
It's going to be like the shopping feed with Google Shopping. You
You
might
said
have
it better.
search.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You're
said
not
it
going to have
good.
like
Yeah.
links. Yeah. I think from that standpoint, people don't. So one thing I don't believe ChatGPT does well, and it's not their fault because they're pulling everything from the internet. So if your information on the internet is outdated, it's going to pull up that outdated information. So people need to understand like your brand itself and where it's at all over the internet needs to be looked at and updated very well. Any negative responses need to be checked out. You have to like because someone might search who you are and you had a negative response 10 years ago, it's going to show that. Like if you say
Yeah.
what's negative about this company and
That's
that's the only thing that's out there, it's going to
yeah.
find it
This
and
is a
say,
little
hey,
different though. This is a little different.
but what I mean is like when you go to do your ads, I think a lot of the influence on being able to advertise well is going to be having your brand's information really up to date and a
Yeah.
really good voice.
Yeah, that's where AEO comes into play. Answer engine
Yeah.
optimization, essentially, quote unquote SEO. If
Yeah.
you were running paid ads and somebody wanted to search more about you or your product, that's where your
Yep.
SEO needs to be polished up.
Well, so what I had happen to me is I haven't looked at my clutch profile in like 6 years, and when I went to just check like how I come up, it was pulling everything from clutch, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so old. So
I
I had
see.
to go and I had to add more stuff to clutch, and I had to change the profile and
Yeah,
update.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it sees Clutch. Clutch is very well structured in terms of
Well,
the information that they output, and the LLMs like that. They like structured data.
so I would say before you do ads, make sure you do the AIO. God, all these acronyms. The AIO
Yeah.
optimization first. You have to be up to par. I think for just like in search, where you have to have organic. Your organic has to be up to par before you start paid. Otherwise, you're not getting the full line share of the search page.
Yeah,
Like
no, you're right. At some point, you got to do them all. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
yeah, you gotta check
Yeah.
that. And there's not really any good tool for that, I don't think right now. You really have to do it yourself in your own research and checking things and asking AI about yourself, and
Yeah. Well,
I agree with that.
some of the big SEO tools, Ahrefs, SEMrush, they're starting to incorporate
Yep,
more of these
true,
features
true.
interfaces because they can see it. They can see it from a mile away where it's all headed.
Yeah.
They're not dumb, obviously. They know the landscape shifting. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the funnel and how it addresses the funnel, I don't think it's any different than Google really. You get top of the funnel, you get middle of the funnel too, because you can follow up with a question when you do a product discovery or service discovery.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where it falls into place. It's really no different. It's no different than Google, right? Because again, it's not like social media where you're just browsing to see, hey, what's on my feed today? You are going into Google, you're going into ChatGPT with an intent, and that is to find out something that's going to show interest. So you might get hit up with an ad, right, to give you awareness on that product or service.
Yeah, though, and you brought up a good point because one thing I would wonder because you know how with Facebook and Google you track events and you can train your ads to work better for you if someone clicks on the add to
Yeah,
cart versus
funnel. Yeah,
checkout. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to follow that. I would expect they would be if they hired the person from Facebook who built their ad, platform. They're probably going to build something similar, just like
I am
TikTok did.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to evolve to that. I think right now they're just kind of trying to keep it very, very simple, right?
They're just, hey, we're running out of money. We're letting you guys know it's coming very fast.
Yeah. I mean, look,
It's going
come
to
on,
be a
man.
beta product.
I'm sure there's a huge roadmap here, right? For the next 5 years or 10 years, right? They're just not going to roll it out all at once. That's impossible. They'll never launch it.
You think they're going to give it to everybody, or is it going to be like a select few that get to be able to start off
Yeah,
with it?
I'm sure it'll be a select few because they
Do
need
you
to.
let us be the
They're,
select few?
no, I doubt it. But listen, this is a learning curve for them. They've never done. No one's really done this before, dude. Google has already announced that they're going to do this, and they haven't even done it yet, and they're already like miles ahead because they already have an advertising platform.
Yeah. I don't even want to go into that, but yeah, they already, yeah. There's so much fraud up in their clicks that it's just not even. Anyway, I don't even want to go into Google's AI ads. I don't even want to bother with that. You know how I'm a big fan.
Here we go. But yeah,
Eh,
if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast with Sundar Pichai from like 3 4 months ago, no, it
nah,
wasn't the Joe Rogan. It was the Lex Freeman podcast, and I encourage you to listen to it. It's amazing. And they got into like Google Chrome and what a shift that was. Now that pretty much controls everything for them. But
nah.
ultimately, Sundar had already discussed how yeah, ads are common to AI responses. It's just a matter of time. But it's on the roadmap, right?
Yeah,
Bottom line is, or the point I'm trying to make is that they already got part of the game figured out, right? Because they've been in the advertising business for a long time. OpenAI has
yeah,
never been in the advertising business. This is brand new to them. So yeah, I think they are going to just, get a few, I don't know, either work directly with brands or work with some kind of agency and then slowly open it up from there.
yeah. I mean, I'm all for it. Like I want to jump into this head first. Like, when TikTok came out and all these other like kind of disruptors, in the ad industry, I was like, like it's works, but this only works for a certain case where I think this one is going to work for all cases. Like you're going to see every vertical except the ones they don't allow, like health, obviously like they might not let a med spa or
Or not yet, just not yet.
yeah, just they'll have to figure out like legalities of that. But I think it's going to be a good, yeah, I think for anybody that's an earlier adopter of it, they're gonna do well right up.
No doubt, no doubt. You're gonna get it. This is gonna be no different than Google in its infancy,
Yeah,
Meta, now TikTok, where you just get a lower cost per click. No doubt. They want to attract. Again, they've been giving it away for free, so now they're gonna give it away at a low cost for advertisers. Because again, they want
yeah,
penetration and adoption.
yeah. You know what cost me is I'm a big screenshot guy. I screenshot so much crap because I don't want to talk about it. So I'll screenshot it. And I'll be like, yeah, I need you to fix this. And I
Yeah,
won't even say what it is, but it's so darn smart. It knows what I'm asking,
it is incredible. It's incredible.
But that's the extra credit, like where you have to pay for extra credits, an extra that's like for the
Yeah, yeah. What was it? I had an issue. I had an issue with my garage door a few weeks ago, and I literally pointed.
yeah,
I I made it look at my garage door opening and closing, and it gave me like the two things that it could be. I mean, granted, it's a garage door opener, right? You got a spring and a motor. There isn't a lot to it, right? But
yeah.
he just kind of told me like, hey, you basically need new springs or they need to be retightened.
Dude, my wife told me I had to fix the bathroom door because it was like, not pushing in right. And she's like, here, she shows you her phone. It's ChatGPT. Here's the three things you have to do. I'm like,
It's wild.
okay.
It's not making us dumber. It's giving us competitive advantage. It really is.
Head over heels in it. Like when I started it and I started figuring out like, oh my God, I could do this. Oh my God, I could do that. I can work faster doing this. Like I just kept on like rolling and rolling into it and into it. Now I'm like, yeah, it's all day long. It's
Yeah.
even to the point where I get so much done that I don't think I'm getting enough done. But then if you look at what I did all day compared to what I did 4 years ago all day, holy cow. Like it's like, I don't know, pretty fast, I think. Anyway,
No
that's where
doubt.
I'm at.
No doubt.
All right. So I think we've covered, pretty much the gist of it, as far as why AI is doing ads because they're hemorrhaging money. And
Yeah. Yeah. Because there won't be AI unless they charge somebody for it.
yeah,
It is
well,
not
it's
it's not cheap to run these data centers.
yeah, well, that's a whole nother topic. We can actually, that'd be a good topic just to talk about just in general, like, power, like just in the sheer amount of power and what it takes to to be very smart when it comes to AI. I think that's a huge, like we weren't able, like you'd figure we'd already have cold fusion and all this, unlimited power and stuff. And, we may have it, but like power companies are just like, we can't really give that because it would wreck the economy if we just say, hey, power is for free. But in this case, I think it's going to be a catalyst with AI to really improve power efficiency across the board.
Yeah. By the
These
way,
companies,
you don't mean cold fusion, the language, right?
no, 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 Cold Fusion, like the Keanu Reeves movie with Morgan Freeman.
You mean
Cold Fusion,
fission? Yeah, fission versus fusion, right? Which,
Fusion. Sorry,
yeah,
I'm thinking Cold Fusion coding.
which,
Yes,
by the way,
correct.
it's
Fusion,
to me, this whole thing
Fusion.
of free power is completely misconstructed, and I'll explain why. Right? Because ultimately, whether it's fusion or fission that you use, right, you're essentially generating heat, right? That heat produces steam from water. That steam moves a some kind of generator, right?
Sorry, what's the difference between fusion and fission?
So let's see. Fusion is when the atoms combine. Fission is when they split.
And then if you do cold fission, that's where they split and you get all that energy, but it's cold, not hot, which, hot is bad because it blows up.
I gotta tell you, other than the programming language, I don't know what cold fusion is. I've never heard that one before.
All right. I'm going to use AI right now to look that up because I
Yeah,
feel
let's do AI.
very,
Let's
very
do AI.
stupid right now from a
I
science
can
perspective.
I can tell you this. I can tell you this. Fusion is what the sun uses to produce energy. And here,
I don't. All right. So I'm just stop this now because I feel even dumber.
yeah, that's fine. No, okay. So fusion is what the sun uses for energy. Fission is like a nuclear plant or a nuclear reactor. I'm a nerd when it comes to this, dude. I look this stuff up all the time.
Yeah.
So fission is like when they shoot like electrons into plutonium and it makes them split up. That generates
Wait.
heat.
Oh, sorry. You got. I'm not that dumb. I was actually correct in the Keanu Reeves
Nobody said
movie.
you were. Nobody said you were.
It says nuclear. So what it's supposed to be is nuclear fusion at room temperature. So regular fusion, what powers the sun, requires 100 million degrees. Cold
Oh,
fusion
I got
claims to do it in a jar on a lab bench.
I see. Well, anyway, that's not happening anytime soon. Because I think now they can achieve fission. No, I'm sorry. Right now they can achieve fusion, but it only lasts like seconds. And you need like these crazy magnetic fields and it's insane how they do it.
I'm
I'm
joking.
sorry, what's that? Your mic was
It's on Joe Rogan. You saw the big old power
Oh
rods.
yeah, 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 yeah. The bottom line is whether they crack fission or not in the next decade, you still need a way to deliver. You still need to generate the power, and then you still got to get it delivered to your house,
Yes. Oh,
right?
that's
And that's where the power company. That's like a massive business of the power company, not just generating the power, but maintaining the grid active so that it gets to your house and maintaining the grid so that it's working.
yeah. I'd go right back to the 80s. I don't know about you, man. Where you basically had your local store.
Yeah,
And we only had movies about AI taking over the world, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was the
yeah, right, right. Yeah,
the
yeah.
bad
That's
guy and then
That's
good
around
guy
the
in the
corner. That's around the
movie.
corner. That's just around the corner, literally. By the way, you can pre-order Neo the robot. I think it's like 20 grand down or 500 bucks a month. They're gonna start shipping this year.
Neo the robot. I don't
Yeah,
even know what you're
it's
talking
called Neo
about.
One or something like that.
But
Yeah, I don't know if it's called Neo the robot, but I think it's a company called Neo.
I'm good. I don't need. I'm gonna get a dog. I mean, I have dogs, but like they're old, and by the time I need a new dog, I'll train it to attack anything that looks like Neo.
So you're gonna start doing
Like
your own
walking
laundry.
down the street, your dog just tackle it.
Oh
I'm
no way!
so
There, no,
sorry for ripping
there's
up a
gonna be
$20,000
there's
robot.
gonna be laws. Come on, there's gonna be laws about all this just around the corner. Come on.
About it. Oh, you mean to protect the AI? Oh, hell no. That's when we get into
I think
some.
like I think when Boston Dynamics started doing all because Boston Dynamic was like they were like the early adopters. They were the pioneers of all this stuff.
Yeah.
At one point remember how they used to like hit their robots with bats or kick them to
Yeah.
test their agility and ability to recover. I don't think that's legal now, or they created a policy where it wasn't allowed after a certain amount of time.
By them or by the
I
government?
want to say by them, obviously not by the government, but I'm saying it's
Yeah,
at some point you're going to see some of these laws come out. I'm sure.
well, you know what? You kind of think about it. If it starts to get sentient, right, and you're kicking it all the time, and it gets pissed off, dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun dun
right.
dun.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
think about it. Okay, listen, think about it. Your car is a robot on wheels when you think about it, right?
pretty much.
What happens if my dog like chews off the tire on your car or breaks your car? I'm responsible for it.
What's the first movie that came out that was sort of kind of like that with Emilio Estevez? Maximum Overdrive.
No, I
His movie.
never seen it.
Like pretty much your car, your toaster, everything attacks you. That was the movie Maximum
Wow.
Overdrive. All in the 80s, man. The 80s predicted all of this and the worst B movies ever. Couple A's movies, but
Yeah. I got you. I got you. All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap up. Look, the exciting thing here is that we are at the start of a new ad era, and it's
yeah,
exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait for cheaper cost per clicks. That's what it comes down to. Like I welcome this kind of
absolutely.
yeah.
Then you just like in our business, per click on a standard search ad is probably around $80 a click.
Yeah,
And unless it's optimized, you might be getting a click from a VPN, some guy in India, not
yeah.
even in local town. It's just BS. Yeah,
That's what I get on Meta is about 60 to $80 per lead in cost
lead.
per
Okay,
lead. Yeah, per lead.
that's
Yeah.
better. Awesome. Well, all right. I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
All right. See you on the next one, Judd.
Not for the podcast, but on the platform.
Gotcha. See you on the next one, Judd. Great seeing you.
All right.